How was this process? Remove my pen there. Yeah.
Okay. There was, I mean, there's a big feeling of relief and a release of pressure on way forward, because these things, it's been weighing very, very heavily on my mind, because I mean, these things like now, the things interference did and so on, it posed a real threat to my immediate future. With it, that held real dangers, because of there is a certain vulnerability in my setup at the moment. So it releases a lot of pressure on that. And, well, I think it's probably clear out of my future pace, because those are the things that I feel are now enabled. That's why those are the things that are getting focused in now forward. So yeah, the release of pressure and stress, but also the surrounding things, because when I get so caught up and sabotage myself, it also brings a lot of peripheral feelings in that also are unproductive, like feelings of inadequacy, disappointment, because it wasn't like that. I was a lot more effective like than that, even doing it for other people. It was a bit unexpected to actually get a positive intent out of that, which well, it makes it easier to deal with, because I still do often think of those times, things that did not go right and so on, and it makes it easier to deal with it and accept my part in it. Yeah, I think that's about the main thing. But it's not only the feeling of release of tension and well, partly fear and disappointment and so on also, but in real practical terms, I can now just go and do these things. I know I can go and do these things. And another thing that came up now in this last part, we didn't discuss it, was I'm going to be able to approach people in the sense of business interaction, or even asking maybe for assistance here and there, also easier. I realized that part also brought up a lot of guilt and shame that I was not aware of until now. I didn't feel guilt or shame about those parts actually ever. I felt anger. Those were the conscious feelings. But I realized now there was also a guilt and shame part that I think influenced my approach of other people to quite a fair extent. So that's also opened up now. Unexpected channel, if you might call it that. I do feel a lot more confident.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Thank you.
I'd love to just quickly test and see, when you think about that memory that you thought about before this process, there was that memory in the past when chaos used to become an interference. What happens when you think about that memory now? Think about it and just get a sense.
My reaction to that wants to be sort of, you guys worried for nothing, but okay, I understand. maybe a bit light, but yeah, that's how it feels to me now.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that feeling of tension that you used to feel is no longer there.
No, the other feeling is now, because when I felt the tension and stuff, it's mostly like that. I feel it here, and it's close to the surface. And then the feeling of strength and things like that, that's where I always also see that pyramid or prism shape that's behind it, also in my chest, but it's behind it and wider. And it's like this other part sort of blocks it and obscures it, and now it's just the other part.
Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Elma. Thank you.
Can you remember, just by the way, Coach, around about 2013, 2014, how I struggled to visualize these things?
Well, I mean, 2013, 2014, I never really, I know obviously there was a bit of resistance to people with NLP. So, you know, I never really used a lot of these processes then. I think it's maybe more 2015, 16, I started actually being more keen on exploring these. But I know at that time, you know, that's, and I guess the question will always be, know when the client is ready for NLP, know when a client still wants to just talk. And I guess where you were, you still wanted to talk because there was just so much anger to what everybody was trying to do. And the talking for me was simply just to build that trust. And I knew that we need an environment like this, probably, where intentionally you are coming for a session and not coming to talk, I guess, with a friend that you trust, for you to be able to get value, if that makes sense. Because then you were just not ready for it, and not, it was okay. So where you are now, I think that's why we always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And then I knew my role was to be a friend, and a friend that you can trust, that you can feel you've got somebody that, despite what's going on, there's someone that you can trust.
Yeah, well, I was very reactive that time, and sometimes a bit explosive. But yeah, it is the thing is, well, I think you on the one workshop might have met somebody what I see as a client in the near future. And for me, it's the same type of thing. I feel the client must first get to that space to be really ready to go into
Definitely.
working.
Definitely. Look, some of us are guys, not some of us, many of us are married to our problems. And change will not happen until we are willing to let go. We're still in a relationship with our problems, and change will not happen until the pain of having that problem is bad enough for us to want to change. But right now, it seems for her that the pain of changing is so much greater than the pain of staying the same. And therefore, it's easier to stay with the problems. However, I'm tired of the problems, but it's easier and it's safer here. Because change, remember, comes with taking responsibility and accountability. That's not really a nice thing. It's easier to blame something, someone, for why I am here, why I'm having these problems. It's quite easy. So, I mean, if you've got rapport, if you've got rapport with the client, you could just start conversationally. So conversationally in terms of challenging contexts where this behavior has been useful, challenging, getting them to find evidence of alternative, behaviors that could be useful to making them shift from their past. So that's something that you could explore.
Yeah, I think slowly, in that case now that I'm working on those, and then I want to get to the point where I can then now, and it's about there where I can ask directly the question, because there is a lot of resistance to change or effort or sacrifice, which is always involved in. So then I want to ask that one question, which is worse, the problem or the change? Decide.
Spot on, spot on. So I need to land the plane here. It's 2:45 midnight for hire there. Ladies and gents, we will start tomorrow morning with the steps. I know some of you are probably sleeping. Oh, hire is still up, 2:45 midnight. So I think you kind of got a beautiful experience of the 6-step reframe. I think you get so much value out of this process when your client really commits into the process like Elma did. Probably one of the most beautiful experiences of the 6-step reframe that I've probably done with anyone in a very long time. And I say specifically because of just how Elma really immersed himself into the process. And I know we're dealing with some, something I've seen him struggle with for many, many years, many years. So yeah. Well done. I think, I mean, Haya, you've seen this process when I did it in Doha. I'm sure you remember who I did it with. I felt she was just giving me answers for the sake of giving me answers, not really fully immersed into the process and really wanting to commit. So I think probably now you got to see it really being something more valuable. And I think, yeah, it was even more beautiful because we started with the previous process, and there was still something in that part that was still, creating a bit of an issue. And that's what we dealt with in this process. Beautiful. Thank you. So we'll start off with the steps in the morning, and then you guys can go into the breakout rooms. Okay. Let me see if you can see if the client is not willing to give up on the problem. Look, you could find yourself to a point where the client gets to a point where you ask them, are you willing to throw away and get rid of this problem? And some clients, after you've gotten the positive intention, like I did with Enma there, they might feel like, actually, no, I don't want to get rid of it. I'll double check with them if they want to. If they don't, that's fine. Then we can chunk it up and still explore the alternative behaviors with them. I would still explore the alternative behaviors with them and get them to integrate the new alternative behaviors with this new behavior and integrate everything. Okay. And then maybe even chunk this behavior even higher. So positive intention, if you go to a point, I'd probably chunk up protection and resting, and chunk it up to get a higher value, integrate that. I don't know, just make it up. Okay, I don't have to chunk up this side. I'll probably explore options, chunk up this side, integrate those, and have all this new, the benefits and everything for the client. I think that probably might be something beautiful in there to create. Yeah. I think I did do once where a client wanted to stop a behavior and they didn't, and then but it helped them make a decision. So they were able to make a decision and say, actually, no, I'd rather do this. Yeah. Cool stuff. Awesome. Great stuff. Have a beautiful evening. Beautiful day. All of you, I think some of you from last night got to make a difference. That makes the difference. Arms out wide and give yourself a hug. Well done. Thank you so much for staying in an hour later. Let's see how quickly we go through tomorrow. Hopefully we can give you guys more than an hour. But I guess we're here because, well, we're really passionate and we're really enjoying this learning journey. So I thank you for that passion. Can we land it there? Have a beautiful night. Do you want to start an hour later? Are you okay starting at 9?
Finish an hour earlier.
All right, rather finish an hour earlier.
Mm.
Beautiful. So let's meet 9 a.m. Pumi is thinking, I want to sleep long.
No, not really. It's actually
Or a nice
better.
lunch break.
Yeah, it's actually better to start earlier then, because by the end of the day we will be exhausted anyway. Maybe we can finish an hour earlier if it gets to that point.
It's possible. It's possible. Let's see how we go through it. It's definitely possible. Alrighty.
Oh,
Good night.
awesome. Thank you. Night all. Night,
Uh,
guys.
Good night.